Well, hello, ISDS 2000 online students for business statistics. Guess what? We have started week number 2. It's Labor Day weekend, and that begins week number 2 of our semester. So I wanted to touch base with you, keep your motivation high, give you some feedback on your first set of grades, which is for Learning Project 1, talk about due dates for Connect, as well as your extra credit assignments that will be coming due soon. You're doing very well. Again, I just want to give you some general feedback that might be beneficial. So think you're doing great, but if you would, let's just run through this together, and I think we'll all gain a little something from it. Okay, let's get started. At this point, your grades are posted for Learning Project 1, and it brought up some things that I wanted to make sure I touched base with you as a group about. Okay. The first thing is, if you do not already know this, when you are on the Dropbox tab, you see Learning Project number 1 here. And under Submissions, you'll see that in this case I've uploaded one file. Now look at this. I click on the number 1 and it's going to tell me the file that I've submitted. At this point, if I realize that I have named this file incorrectly, then what I need to do is to go back and I need to submit this file again, or if you've made any other mistakes. I do give you the ability to upload the file as many times as you want. I do not look at it until it's past the due date. In other words, after the project is due, you've turned it in, and therefore I will grade it, and I only grade the very last file that you submitted. I do not grade anything prior to that. Okay, so if I go in here again, I may choose to submit this file. Now, of course, as we see all these instructions here, there's something else I want to point out. One thing that successful students do is they might download these instructions, print this instruction page that has due dates and things like that. And I'm going to go to the Word document that I already have open. And I'm going to give you a tip that was given to me by one of my students years ago. She was an A student. She was a 4.0, and when I say 4.0, I don't mean that she ever got a 90%. She was always 100%, 100%, and I'll tell you how she did it. When she read instructions, she got very peaceful, very calm. She had them printed, and she would read with a pen or a pencil in her hand. And when she came to action words, download, save, she would draw a square around them. When she finished a particular step in the process, she would always put a check mark next to it. So you might imagine she never missed a step. Also, she was very efficient. This was not a huge time-consuming process for her. She was extremely efficient and extremely accurate in her work. If I said to watch a video, she watched it intently and she wrote down action points in it. One of the things you have to be really careful of here is when I ask you to name the file in a very specific format, I really do expect you to do that. Okay, so now let's talk about the file. I'm going to open up my Excel file, and I'll tell you another danger point. So often in our computer savvy generation today, we have this great trust that computers can do anything. So you might say that, I don't know, this answer is that, okay, which you know that's an outlandish number. And then you type it in, you switch over to pause, and you start to add the file to upload it. Now the question you have to ask yourself is, what will Dr. Jones see when she reads that file? Tell you what she's going to see. She will not see that. Instead, she's going to see that. Because even though you've typed it on the screen, you haven't saved it. So in that little file that you're uploading, there was no saved information. How do you prevent that error? You close Excel, you close the file, you close the Word document completely. Now you'll notice I just clicked don't save. I guess I should have saved that. But the point is, it asked me, do you want to save the file? Now I'm first of all reminded that I need to save the file. Then if I save it, I can add the file and submit it. And I know without any doubt that the information that I saved is in there. Now what if I do, let me actually do that again. I'm going to type a number in the box here, something like that. I'm going to put my name here as required, and I'm going to save it so that when I close it actually detects that it's already saved, and I'm going to add my file. I'm going to go ahead and submit it. Okay, so I've added my file, submit, and I saved it upon close. Okay, so now you see that I have the file there. I do not want to upload more files, so I believe I'm done. Do you notice that whenever you upload a file, you see this email icon here? I'm going to show you how to get that particular email that was just sent. Go back to My Home. In other words, I do not want you to be in any of our classes. Go all the way back to the home. Then click Email. When you go to that email, the first thing that you're going to see is a receipt, Dropbox receipt. This is for the file that I just uploaded. Now, it tells me that a file was uploaded. It does not tell me if the information contained in that file was accurate or not. So let's go back into our class and into the Dropbox. Okay, so I'm back. Now, do you see that there are 2 files submitted now? I'm going to click on the number 2. Maybe yours says 10. I don't know. Right? And notice it gives the date and the time. Now remember, Dr. Joan only grades the very last file submitted. And you see here it is here. And good thing the name is correct. Well, how do I know what's in the file? Maybe whatever I submitted, I'm concerned that all the data was not in the file. Why don't we click the file? We can save it, or I always save it and then open it, but save it someplace different so that when you open it, here's the file, and remember I typed in 17%. I had my graph already there, and I typed in my name. So now I can, I say, oh my goodness, I didn't answer these other questions. I didn't do the other tab. Right? And that is what was submitted. So I know that I need to go out there and do some more work. I hope that helps you with the Dropbox. I do have some videos off of my homepage, and in fact as part of the assignment instructions I direct you to my how-to videos for the PAWS Dropbox. I have actually a whole series of them, and you can make those full screen. They're just little thumbnails there, but that really tell you how to use all the various parts of PAWS. Now, let's move on to the next step. As we're touching base in week number 2 of the semester, we have some more due dates that are coming down the track at us very, very quickly, right? So our next assignments that are due are Chapter 1 and Chapter 2 in Connect. You see there's a bit of a gap there in Connect from 9/6 to 9/20, but of course you know from PAWS that you have assignments due, like learning projects and extra credit that are due in between the 6th and the 20th. So every week you have something due. Now as I talk about this, let me, as we're touching base, touch on one other thing. As a student, I know that you may work full-time, you may work more than one job, you have family obligations, and you probably take many courses. So you probably have many due dates. I would encourage you to use a calendar. You can get a calendar in the student handbook that is freely available at Student Services, or from a number of places. I tend to use Microsoft Word and go out to the internet, and use their calendar program. It's really not hard to do, but you can search online, figure out how to do this real easily. And I say, okay, let me type in here. Classes begin, that was back on the 25th of August. This was week 1 of the semester. Now I'm down here at week number 2, right? Here's week 2. I typed all this in, week 2, Labor Day, because it helps me to get organized. So as I know that I have something like Chapter 1 and Chapter 2 due in Connect on the 6th, I'll say Connect. Chapters 1 and 2 are due, so that I can stay organized. Just a little suggestion for you. Now, what happens after that due date at 11:55 p.m.? You'll have those grades, and I will manually transcribe those into pause, and I'll send you an email and ask you to verify. Remember, if there's any error, you need to notify me within 48 hours, right? Otherwise, the grade stands. So let me go back and remind you how to check the grades. Here we are in pause. Here's the grades link. And here's the grades page, and depending on what section of the class you're in, this might look different. But here it says learning projects, and then it says 18.5 out of 100, and you're saying to yourself, what? I only got 18.5 points out of 100? No, this is a subtopic, okay? This is a total for all learning projects. You've only completed one of your 5 learning projects. Each learning project is 100 points. So this is just a subtotal. I would truly ask that you ignore these subtotals. They cause nothing but confusion from now to the end of the semester. Please ignore this subtotal. Okay, see, in the same way discussion board postings, and it's like it's listed twice, just ignore the subtotal. Okay, please. That will just make life so much easier. Now, here's the next mistake students make. They see just a little portion here, and they don't do what? Scroll down. Scroll down. One of the common complaints that students give is that they don't get enough feedback on their assignment. I think the real problem is you're not reading the feedback. You have to scroll down. For each and every individual category, part 1 of your graph, part 2, I have given you detailed feedback. Here's the question that I ask. Oh, the student did excellent on that. Oh, I didn't put a trend line on my instructions. So look, I got 0 out of 1.5 points. You can go through and read this. It might take you a minute, but you'll understand the gist of it. Here is the grade for this particular assignment, Learning Project 1. Remember how up here it just said Learning Projects. Here is for Learning Project 1. There's my score, 18.5 out of 20. That's not bad. That's an A. Okay, I got a grade of A. And if I keep scrolling down again, I'll see the comments and I'll see that the grade was posted. You know, I haven't earned grades. We haven't done Learning Project 2 yet, but there'll be comments posted in here. And again, scrolling down will be essential as we post the grades for each one of these. You'll have some extra credit work coming up soon. See the drop box for those instructions, right? Now, down here towards the bottom, when the due date passes for Connect, Chapter 1 and Chapter 2, I need you to come in here again. I had to scroll down to get to here and double check that when I post your grade out of 10 possible points that you agree that I posted the grade correctly. Okay, you don't have to email me anything like that unless there's a problem. So we've covered a couple things here. We've looked at your upcoming assignments in Connect. You have chapters 1 and 2 that are due. We've talked about the fact that your grade is posted in pause and how you can see that under the grades link. You'll also be able to see some feedback under the drop box if you go back to the original assignment. Let me see if I can show you that. Yes. See right here where it says view and there's a little sparkle next to that bubble? That means that I have some information for you. So if you click on that, you're going to be able to read. Let me see if I can do that. Okay, so you're going to be able to read that. I just uploaded a student's file. Thank you, Michael, for letting me use your file. You were not aware of that, but thank you. And this is not his grade. I just posted this up here. But see how this is much nicer way of looking at that information. So that might be helpful to you as you go through here. I was trying to set up some examples. Okay, now finally, I've talked about, find a calendar and use that, but remember you also have the calendar in pause. That is a helpful, useful way for you to see all your class information, due dates and things like that in one nice, concise place here, and you can just check the box for any class that you're enrolled in. Another thing, and I don't mean to overdo it, but let me tell you one final thing. On the course homepage for our course, you will see upcoming events. See how it says upcoming? This is not only due dates, but these are assignments that are opening up. So it's both things that are due and assignments that are opening up, and it'll keep you focused on the next thing that you need to do. You need to be working on Connect. You need to be working on your extra credit. Okay, so I hope this helps, and keep going hard, guys. I know that this is a lot of work. I really am proud of you. You guys are doing very well. Oftentimes, students on the very first assignment struggle and have difficulty and kind of flounder a little bit. You guys did very, very well, and I think that's a tribute to your attention to detail and your willingness to jump in and to get started. And so keep the momentum going. You're getting acquainted with the course. I realize there's still just a little bit of confusion, but as you knock out these first 2 chapters of Connect, then you'll have the full experience and your extra credit as well. And so you'll feel more and more comfortable as we continue through the course. Stay strong, stay high energy, and keep up the good work. You're doing really well. Thanks so much.